Scaling a portfolio, there's parts that no one talks about. There's parts that are hidden behind the scenes, right? We see on social media all the time, the end result of when someone has a successful scale up of their practice or of their dental portfolio. And there's some things that change in the equation when we start to scale, right? Systems get stressed if they're not built out properly. Take home pay to the owner typically is going to see a shift short term. Our cash flow tightens. Why does this happen? Well, think about it. When we are a single doc owner working in a practice day to day, and we're not necessarily paying ourselves a fair market value wage as if we had an associate in there, as we start to scale up a practice, whether we're bringing an associate in or we're scaling a portfolio where we have to hire associate docs to come in, we have to now pay for that production, right? So in that single doc example, uh, we bring in an associate into that solo practice and we take a step back in our clinical production. Well, that production is getting replaced by that associate, and we're having to pay them 32 cents on the dollar, whatever the case may be in their associate contract that doesn't necessarily equate to an increase in revenue, an increase in take-home pay right away, right? As that associate ramps up, we should see that take-home pay eventually start to go back to a normal anticipated take-home pay. On the flip side, in a portfolio, right, we are scaling practices, right? We're reinvesting back into those practices. We got to pay associates for that production. The other thing is we got to pay for really the entire venture. So, build outs, new practice acquisitions, startup fees, taking legacy practice cash flow that typically, right, where most owners hit a position where they're cash flowing really well and they're like, hey, I can do this in one location. Let's do this in four locations and 4x my cash flow to myself. Well, it doesn't typically happen like that overnight, right? It takes reinvestment back into those new practices that we're acquiring, we're bringing into the portfolio. And what that typically means is us as the owner are actually going to take a step back for a while, right? The plug in that free cash flow is us as the owner. And so when we open location number two, location number three, what we often see happen is, as those start to ramp up, we got expenses that are happening, right? And that production revenue may not be there to cover it right away. And so me as the owner, I got to take a step back in what I am able to distribute to myself, what I'm paying to myself to make sure that those ventures get up and going.